Hi, I'm Lauren Hamilton, accountant for therapists. Today I wanted to cover a topic that's really exciting, 1099s. So let's jump into it. So what is a 1099? It is an IRS form that you are required to file if you have paid someone or a vendor for a service during the year. Most specifically, I'm talking about the 1099 NEC form, which is for non-employee compensation. So this is for any service that you've paid for during the year, for like a virtual assistant, a marketing person who might be, posting things for social media or sending out a newsletter. Um, or it could be a clinical assistant, anything that you have had a service provided to you during the year. And why does it matter to file this form? Basically, the IRS wants to track income for independent contractors. So, those persons that are providing that service, they are responsible for reporting the income that they've earned. And since they don't receive a W-2 or any other income form during the year, this is a way the IRS can track that income to their business. This also keeps your business compliant and organized for tax season. There can be a penalty for not filing 1099s when they are needed, so you just want to avoid that. So that's why we're talking about that today. So who needs a 1099? And more specifically, the 1099 NEC. This is an individual or an unincorporated business, so either like a sole proprietor or a partnership. And if you've paid them more than $600 in the year, that is the amount or the threshold amount that will require the 1099 to be filed. So again, examples of this are virtual assistants, any billing contractors, anybody that's, helped you bill for your insurance billing, any marketing or, freelancers to help with your website, any admin or even a cleaning person that is cleaning your office during the year. They will need to receive a 1099 NEC. So those are who will need one. So let's talk about those that will not need one. That's anybody that's paid through a credit card or through PayPal, anything like that. Because you're paying them through a credit card, they, on their end, the vendor or contractor, will report that through what is called a 1099-K. And that's a whole nother form, something that you don't really need to worry about. Basically, it's something that the credit card processing company will issue to that person as a total of how many credit cards they processed during the year. And anybody that doesn't meet that threshold amount. So let's say you did have a cleaning person, but you only paid them $300, maybe for like a couple of months at the end of the year. You would not need to issue them a 1099 because they do not meet that $600 threshold amount. The other people that you don't need to send a 1099 to is anybody that's incorporated. So that would be anybody that's marked an S Corp or a C Corp on their W-9, which we'll talk about next. So the information that you are going to need in order to file the 1099 is to get what is called a W-9 form, which again is another IRS form that the vendor or contractor will need to fill out with their specific information, which is mainly their name, address, either their social security number or EIN number. The other information that you'll need is just the total amount that you've paid them during the year. So this is where, keeping up with your bookkeeping and accounting is going to be, really helpful towards the end of the year. So you'll want to be able to run a vendor report and know how much that you have paid them for the year. And if that amount is over the $600 threshold limit, then that's the amount that you will put on the 1099. You'll also just want to notate how you paid them. Again, if you've paid them through a credit card or through a PayPal or anything like that, then that would not be needed for a 1099. However, if you paid them with cash or check or Venmo, that will require you to have that amount on the 1099. My best practice tip for this is to always collect the W-9 before you pay your contractor or vendor. So let's say, you do have a new cleaning person or you do have a new clinical assistant helping you. Before you even pay them for their service, ask them for the W-9 first. This is just going to save a lot of time and a lot of headache at the end of the year, especially if, let's say, you don't work with your clinical assistant the entire year and you have to reach back out to them at the end of the year. So it just helps the flow of things, just to get that form up front. And if they're used to being an independent contractor, such as like your, cleaning service, they're going to be used to having to hand that out. And most of the time, people will already have this filled out, and it should be easy for them to send that to you. The other best practice tip is to use a service like QuickBooks or Xero. They have a built-in 1099 report tracker, so you can keep up with that during the year. I myself like to look at that quarterly, again, just to make sure that I have the information that I need and the amounts are tracking, and that way I've got, again, just a clean list at the end of the year. I have worked with several businesses who do not do that during the year, and come January, it's always a mad rush to get all the information you need. So, again, just best practice is just get that W-9 up front and to keep up with your 1099 list during the year. Now that we've gotten all of the information we need for the 1099, how are we going to file them? So basically, you're just going to get all of your information together. You can either use an accounting or an e-filing software. I like to use Track 1099 through Avalara. It's really easy. They're not a sponsor or anything like that. I've used them for years. They have all the forms that you need, and they make it really easy to just put in the vendor information and send the 1099 out electronically filed. The other main thing that you'll want to get from your vendor is an email address, and that'll just save you some processing costs there, because a service like Track 1099 will email the 1099 to your vendor instead of putting it through the postal mail. And we all know how the post office is these days. The less that we can use the post office, the better. So really try to get that email up front as well. You can also use QuickBooks for this. QuickBooks does have a 1099 filing as well. So anyway, whatever you're comfortable with, just find one that will e-file for you. That's the best way to file the forms with the IRS and to make sure that everything is compliant for the filing. And when's your deadline for these? So all of these 1099s need to be filed by January 31st of every year. So coming up, we're currently in 2025. So as of January 31st, 2026, you will want to have all of your 2025 1099s filed. Mainly, 1099s may seem scary or, overwhelming. Once you kind of have a good process down, it's really not. Generally, it should just take maybe 30-45 minutes if you have everything at the end of the year. If you don't, like I mentioned before, come January, you're going to be trying to, reconcile for the entire year and get your bookkeeping up to date, and then also having to reach back out to those vendors and getting those W-9s and getting all of their information into the system. And that can just create a lot more overwhelm and complication. So again, just kind of some key takeaways is just staying on top of your bookkeeping during the year and making sure that you're getting all of that information from your vendors, like the W-9 and email addresses. And that way you'll have a smoother end of year and a less chaotic January, because you're already working on, getting ready for tax season and, just starting off the new year on a good foot. So I hope you found this video helpful, and if you have any questions or need advice on how to get started with filing your 1099s, please reach out to me. I help therapists every day stay compliant and help them with their bookkeeping so that their year end is a lot smoother and less chaotic. So until next time, be well.